Many strange and wondrous tales and tragedies are told of the Greeks of old, but none is so tragic as the story of Oedipus the king and the evil curse he brought upon his family through his own crimes and the ill fortune he was fated to suffer. After Oedipus died, his two sons, Eteocles and Polynices, were to share the throne, but Eteocles desired the throne all for himself, and so he banished his brother. But Polynices returned with an army from Argos to challenge his brother, and so it was, to the dismay of their sisters, that the brothers met on the field of battle, and at the city gates they fought for the throne. And now that both brothers were dead, the two sisters were left alone, without parents or brothers. Now their uncle, Creon, assumed the throne. And because Eteocles had defended the city, Creon honored Eteocles with full funeral rites and military honors. But because Polynices had led a rebellion against Thebes, Creon decreed that his corpse must be left to rot. Our story begins here, for as you will soon see, the curse of Oedipus had not yet reached its full fruition.
My own flesh and blood, dear sister, dear Ismene, how many Greeks our father Oedipus handed down? Do you know one, I ask you? One Greek Zeus will not perfect for the two of us, while we still live and breathe? There's no pain. Our lives are pain. No private shame, no public disgrace, nothing I have not seen in your griefs and mine. And now this, an emergency decree, they say. The commander has just declared for all of Thebes. What, haven't you heard? Don't you see? The doom reserved for enemies marches on the ones we love the most.
Not I haven't heard a word, Antigone. Nothing of loved ones. No joy or pain has come my way. Not since the two of us were robbed of our two brothers. Both dead in a single day, a double blow. Not since the armies of Argos vanished just this very night. I know nothing more, whether our luck's improved or ruins still to come.
I thought so. That's why I brought you out here, past the gates, so you could hear in private.
What's the matter? Troubled, clearly. You sound so dark, so grim.
Why not? Our own brother's burial. Hasn't Creon graced one with all the rights and disgraced the other? Eteocles, they say, has been given full military honors, rightly so. Creon has laid him in the earth, and he goes down in glory among the dead. But the body of Polynices, who died miserably? Why, a citywide proclamation, rumor has it, forbids anyone to bury him, even mourn him. He is to be left unwept, unburied, a lovely corpse for birds that scan the fields and feast to their heart's content. Such is the martial law our good Creon lays out for you and me. Yes, me, I tell you. And he's coming here to alert the uninformed on no uncertain terms. And he won't treat the matter lightly. Anyone who disobeys in the least will die. His doom is sealed. Stoning inside the city walls. There you have it. You'll soon show what you are. Worth your breeding, Ismene, or a coward for all your royal blood.
My poor sister, if things have come to this, who am I to make or amend them? Tell me, what good am I to you?
Decide, will you share the labor? Share the work?
What work? What's the risk? What do you mean?
Will you lift up his body with these hands and lower it with me?
What? You'd bury him. What a law forbids the city?
Yes, he's my brother. And deny it as you will, your brother too. No one will convict me for a traitor.
So desperate, and Creon has expressly...
No, he has no right to keep me from my own.
Oh, my sister, think how our own father died, hated, his reputation in ruins. driven on by the crimes he brought to light himself, to gouge out his eyes with his own hands. And mother, his mother and wife, both in one, mutilating her life in the twisted noose. And last, our two brothers, dead in a single day, both shedding their own blood, poor suffering boys. Now look at the two of us, left so alone. Think what a death will die, the worst of all, if we violate the laws and override the fixed decrees of the throne, its power. We must be sensible. Remember, we are women. We're not born to contend with men. Then, too, we are underlings, ruled by much stronger hands. So we must submit in this and things still worse. I, for one, I'll beg the dead to forgive me. I'm forced. I have no choice. I must obey the ones who stand in power. Why rush to extremes? It's madness. Madness!
I won't insist, no. Even if you should have a change of heart, I've never welcomed you in the labor, not with me. So do as you like, whatever suits you best. I will bury him myself, and if I die in the act, that death will be a glory. I will lie with the one I love and loved by him, an outrage sacred to the gods. I have longer to please the dead than to please the living here. In the kingdom down below, I'll lie forever. So do as you like. Dishonor the laws the gods hold in honor.
I do them no dishonor, but defy the city? I have no strength for that.
You have your excuses. I'm on my way. I will raise a mound for him, for my dear brother.
Antigone, you're so rash. I'm so afraid for you.
Don't fear for me. Set your own life in order.
Then don't at least blurt this out to anyone. Keep it a secret. I'll join you in that, I promise.
Dear Zeus, shout it from the rooftops. I'll hate you all the more for your silence. Tell the world.
So fiery, and it ought to chill your heart.
I know I please where I must please the most.
Yes, if you can, but your love impossibility.
Very well. Once my strength gives out, I will be done at last.
You're wrong from the start. You're off on a hopeless quest.
If you say so, you will make me hate you. And the hatred of the dead, by all rights, will haunt you night and day. But leave me to my own absurdity. Leave me to suffer this dreadful thing. I will suffer nothing as great as death without glory.
Then go if you must. But rest assured, wild, irrational as you are, my sister, you are truly dear to the ones who love you.
Elders of Thebes, the king of the realm is coming.
My countrymen, the ship of state is safe. The gods who rocked her, after a long, merciless pounding and storm, have righted her once more. Out of the whole city, I've called you here alone. Well, I know. First, your undeviating respect for the throne and royal power of King Leus. Next, while Oedipus steered the land of Thebes, and even after he died, your loyalty was unshaken. You still stood by the children. Now, since the two sons are dead, two blows of fate in one day, cut down by each other's hands, both killers, both brothers, stained with blood, as I am next in kin to die. I now possess the throne and all of its powers. Of course, you do not know man completely, his character, his principles, his sense of judgment, not until he's seen his colors, ruling the people, making laws. Experience, that is a test. As I see it, whoever assumes the task, the awesome task, of setting the city's course, but refuses to adopt the soundest policies, but fearing man keeps his lips locked tight, he is utterly worthless. So I rate him now. I always have. And whoever places the good of his friend over the good of his own country, he is nothing. I have no use for him. Zeus is my witness. Zeus who sees all things, always. I can never stand by silent, watching destruction march into the city. Nor can that man ever be a friend of mine, he who menaces the country. Remember this, country is our safety. Only while she voyages true on course can we establish friendships truer than blood itself. Such are my standards. They make the city great. Closely akin to them, I proclaim the following decree concerning the two sons of Oedipus, Antigone, who died, fighting for Thebes, excelling all men in arms. He shall be buried, crowned with the hero's honors. The cups we pour to soak the earth and reach the famous dead. But as for his blood brother Polynices, who returned from exile, home from his father's city, and the gods of his race consumed with one desire, to burn the place roof to roots, who thirsted to drink his kinsman's blood and sell the rest into slavery, that man, a proclamation has forbidden the city to dignify him with burial. Mourn him at all. No, he shall be left carrion for the birds and dogs to tear, and obscenity for the citizens to behold. These are my standards. Never will a traitor be honored higher than a patriot, but whoever proves his loyalty to the state, I'll prize that man in death as well as life.
If this is your pleasure, Creon, treating our city's enemies and our friends this way, but the power is yours, I suppose, to enforce it with the laws, both for the dead and all of us, the living.
Follow my orders closely then. Be on your guard.
We are too old. Lay that burden on younger shoulders.
No, not the body. I have posted guards already.
What commands for us then? What other service?
See that you never side with those who disobey my commands.
Never. Only a fool to be known with death.
Death is the price, you're right. But all too often, the mere hope of money ruins many men.
My lord, I cannot say that I'm witted for running, nor that I was set out with any step at my foot either. No, sir, I was lost in thought. Made me stop off and dead in my tracks, wheeling, turning back, and all the same, a voice muttering inside my head, "Idiot, why, you're going straight to your death." And then muttering, "Poor fool, stopped again? If someone else gets news to Creon first, what's to save your neck?" And so, mulling it over, I trudged on. You can make a short road last forever. But, as you can see, common sense went out. I am here all yours, and even though I came empty-handed, I will tell my story all the same, because I've got a good grip on hope that what will happen will happen.
Come to the point! What's wrong? Why so afraid?
First myself, I didn't do it, didn't see who did. Please don't take it out on me.
You're playing it safe, soldier, barricading yourself from any trouble. It's obvious you have something strange to tell.
Dangerous too. Danger makes us delay for all we're worth.
Out with it! Then dismiss!
Okay, here it comes. The body. Someone's buried it.
What?
Ran up, sprinkling a bit of dust on it, giving it proper rites.
What? What man alive would dare?
I have no idea, I swear. There was no mark of the spade, no pickaxe there. The ground was packed hard and dry, no earth turned up. Unbroken. No tracks, no rear rights, nothing. The word man left no trace. And so, at first dawn, the first watch points it out. It was a wonder. We were all stunned. A terrific burden, too. Now listen, you couldn't see the body, not that it was buried, just a sprinkle of road dust on it as if someone just laid the body to keep it from getting cursed. And there was no sign that a dog or wild beast or even worried it, or even torn its skin. And so, and what came next? Rough talks flew thick and fast, guard running guard. We'd come to blows, each man for himself, each the culprit. All, no one caught red-handed, all dodging charges, pleading ignorance, all ready to take up a red-hot iron in their fists, go through fire, swear oaths to the gods. Now I didn't do it either, not in the planning, not in the work itself. And so when our wrangling came to an end, a man spoke out, made us look at the ground, hanging our heads in fear. And what he said, there was no way to come up with his advice safe and sound. And what he said we had to get news to Creon because we could not hide this forever. And so when that went over, the lot fell to me. Unlucky as ever, they condemned me. And we both know that no one wants to be the bringer of bad news.
My king, ever since he began, I've been debating in my mind. Could this possibly be the work of the gods?
Stop before you make me choke with anger. The gods? You're senile. Must you be insane? You say that the gods would have the slightest concern for that corpse? Exactly when did you last see the gods celebrating traitors? Inconceivable. From the first, there are certain citizens who can hardly stand the spirit of my regime. These are the instigators, I'm convinced. They perverted my guard, bribed them to do their work. Money, nothing worse in our lives. So current, so rampant, so crafty. You destroy cities, root men from homes, and train and twist the good minds and set them to the most atrocious schemes. No limit, you make them adapt to every kind of outrage, every godless crime. Money. Everyone, the whole crew bribed to commit this crime. One thing they have proven at least. Sooner or later, they will. pay the price. You! I swear to Zeus, as I still believe in Zeus, if you fail to produce the man who buried that body before my eyes, simple death will not be enough for you. Not to string you up and wring the immorality out of you. Then you can steal the rest of your days, better informed about how to make a killing. You'll have learned, at last, it doesn't pay to itch for rewards from every hand that beckons. Filthy profits ruin most men. You'll see, they'll never save your life.
May I say a word or two, or just ready to go?
Can't you tell? Everything you say offends me.
Where does it hurt? In the ears or in the heart?
And who are you to pinpoint my displeasure?
The culprit breaks your feelings. I only know your ears.
Still talking? You talk too much. A born nuisance.
Maybe so, but remember, I did nothing.
Yes, you did. What's more, you squander your life for silver.
Oh, it's terrible when the person who does the judging judges things all wrong.
Well now, you just be clever about your judgments. If you fail to produce the criminals for me, you'll swear your dirty money brought you pain.
I hope he's found, best thing by far. Found or not, that's left fortune. As for me, I'll never come back. You've seen the last of me. I'm saved. I never thought, I never hoped. To the gods I give all my thanks.
Numberless wonders, terrible wonders walk the world, but none the match for man. That great wonder, crossing the heaving gray sea, driven on by the blast of winter, onward breakers crashing left and right, holds his steady course. And the oldest of the gods he wears away, the earth, the immortal, the inexhaustible, as his plows go back and forth, year in, year out, with the breed of stallions turning up the furrows.
And the blithe, light-headed race of birds he snares, the tribes of savage beasts, the life that swarms the dust. With one flame in his nets, woven and coiled tight, he takes them all, man, the skill of the brilliant. He conquers all, taming with his techniques, the prey that roams the cliffs and wild lairs, training the stallion, clamping the yoke across the shaggy neck, and the tireless mountain bull.
In speech and thought, quick as the wind, and the mood and mind of the law that rules the city. All these he has taught himself, and sheltered from the arrows and the frost, when there's rough lodging under the cold, clear skies, and shafts of lashing rain. Ready, resourceful man, never without resources, never in passe as he marches on the future. From death, death alone he finds no rescue, but from desperate plagues he's plotted his escape.
Man the master, ingenious past all measure, past all dreams, the skills within his grasp. He forges on, now to destruction, now again to greatness. When he weaves in the laws of the land and the justice of the gods that binds his oaths together, he and his city rise high. But the city casts out that man who weds himself in humanity, thanks to reckless daring. Never share my heart, never think my thoughts. Whoever does such things. Here is a dark sign from the gods. What to make of this? I know her. How can I deny it? That young girl's Antigone. Wretched child of a wretched father, Oedipus. They bring you in like a prisoner. Why? Did you break the king's laws? Did they catch you in some act of mad defiance?
I saw with my own eyes burying the body, just has been forbidden. Where's Creon?
Back again, just in time when you need him.
In time for what? What is it?
My king, there is nothing you swear you never do. Second thoughts make liars of us all. As for me, I've just sworn I'd never come back with the threats of buffeting I just took. But a stroke of luck beyond our wildest hopes, a joy like none other. I come breaking my oath. Who cares? I bring in our prisoner, this girl. I saw her giving the dead his last rites. Now no casting lots this time. This is my will, my prize, no one else's. And so take her, question her, cross-examine her to your heart's content. But free me, it's only right. I'm rid of this business once and for all.
Prisoner? Her? You took her? Where? Doing what?
Burying the body, that's the whole story.
You mean what you say? You're telling me the truth.
I saw her with my own eyes, giving the dead his last rites, just as been forbidden. Is that plain and so?
What did you see? Did you catch her in the act?
Here's what happened. We went back to our posts with your threats breathing down our necks. We brushed the body clear of the dust that covered it. It was slimy, going soft. So we took the high ground, our backs to the wind so the stink could not hit us. Jostling, beating each other to stay awake, shouting back and forth, no napping on the job. And so when hours passed by, the sun was directly above our heads, a white ball in the sky beating, blazing down upon us. And then it happened. A whirlwind. a dust storm from the earth, a black plague from the heavens. It ripped the leaves off every tree in sight, and in choking air, we squinted, taking our weeping from the gods. And when it stopped, it seemed endless. We saw her over the body, and she did a sharp, piercing cry, cursing upon all the heads who have ever done the work. And taking out the fine bronze urn, she pouring, lifting, she crowned the dead with 3 full libations. And when we saw this, we rushed on the hill like hunters, and she didn't flinch at all. We questioned her with the fences past and present, and she stood up to it all, denying nothing. I say, it made me laugh and ache in the same breath. It's pure joy to escape the worst of yourself. It hurts a man to bring down his friends. But all this, I fear, means nothing to me than my own skin. That's the way I'm made.
You, with your eyes fixed on the ground, do you deny doing this? Yes or no?
I did it. I don't deny a thing.
You're dismissed. You're clear of a very heavy charge.
Well aware. How could I avoid it? It was public.
And still you had the gall to break this law.
Of course I did. It wasn't Zeus, not in the least, who made this proclamation, not to me. Nor did that justice, dwelling with the gods beneath the earth, ordain such laws for men. Nor did I think your little edict that had such force that you, a mere mortal, could override the gods, the great, unwritten, unshakable traditions. They are alive not just today or yesterday, they live always, from the first time, and no one knows when they first saw the light. These laws, I was not about to break them, not out of fear for some man's wounded pride, and face the retribution of the gods. Die I must, I have known it all my life. How could I keep from knowing, even without your death sentence ringing in my ears? And if I am to die before my time, I consider that a gain. Who alive in the midst of such grief as I could fail to find his death a rich reward? So for me to meet this doom of yours is precious little pain. And if my present actions strike you as foolish, let's just say I've been accused of falling by a fool.
Like father, like daughter, passionate, wild, she hasn't learned to bend before adversity.
This girl was an old hand in insolence when she overrode the edicts made public. But once she had done it, the insolence twice over, to glory in it, laughing, mocking us to our face about what she had done. I am not the man, not now. She is the man. If the victory goes to her, and she goes free. Never, sister's child, or closer in blood than all of my family, clustered around my altar, worshiping guardian Zeus. Never. She'll never escape the most barbaric death. She and her blood sister. Yes, I accuse her sister of an equal part in scheming this burial. Bring her here. I just saw her, hysterical, gone to pieces. The mind always convicts itself in advance when it senses scoundrels, up to no good, plot in the dark. Oh, but I hate it more when the prisoner, caught red-handed, tries to glorify her crimes.
Crayon, what more do you want than my arrest and execution?
Nothing, then I have it all.
Then why delay? Your moralizing repels me. Every word you say, pray God it always will. So naturally, all I say repels you too. Enough. Give me glory. What greater glory could I win than to give my own brother decent burial? These citizens, they would praise me too if their lips were locked in fear. Lucky tyrants, the perquisites of power. Ruthless power to do and say whatever pleases them.
You, of all people at Thebes, see things that way.
And they see it just that way, but defer to you and keep their tongues in leash.
And you, aren't you ashamed to differ so from them? So disloyal.
Not ashamed for a moment. Not to honor my brother, my own flesh and blood.
Wasn't Antigone your brother too? Cut down, facing him?
Brother, yes, by the same father, the same mother.
Then how can you render his enemies such honor, such impiety to his eyes?
He will never testify to that. Eteocles dead and buried.
He will, if you honor him as much as the traitor.
But it was his brother, not some slave that died.
Ravaging the country, but Eteocles died fighting on our behalf.
No matter. Death belongs to the same rights for all.
Not the same for the traitor and the patriot.
Who, Crayon? Who on earth can say the ones below don't find this pure and uncorrupt?
Once an enemy, never a friend. Not even after death.
I was born to join in love, not hate. That's my nature.
They go down below in love. If love you must, love to death. While I'm alive, no woman's gonna lord it over me.
Look, it's the maid's coming. twain, crying a sister's tears, lovely sister under a cloud, sorrow puts her radiance in the dark.
You, in my own house, you viper, slinking undetected, sucking my lifeblood. I never knew I was reading between disasters, the two of you, rising up against my throne. Come, tell me, will you confess your part in the crime or not? Answer me, swear to me.
I did it, yes, if only she consents. I share the guilt, the consequences too.
No, justice will never suffer that. Not you. You were unwilling. I never brought you in.
But now you face such dangers. I'm not ashamed to sail through trouble with you. Make your troubles mine.
Who did the work? Let the dead and the God of death bear witness. I have no love for a friend who loves in words alone.
Oh no, my sister, don't reject me, please. Let me die beside you, consecrating the dead together.
Never share my dying. Don't lay claim to what you never touched. My death will be enough.
What do I care for life, cut off from you?
Ask Crayon. Your concern is all for him.
Why do you abuse me so? It doesn't help you now.
You're right. If I mock you, I get no pleasure from it, only pain.
Tell me, dear one, what can I do to help you, even now?
Save yourself. I don't grudge you for your survival.
Oh no, no. Denied my portion in your death?
You chose to live. I chose to die.
Not at least without every kind of caution I could voice.
Your wisdom appealed to one world, mine another.
But look, we're both guilty, both condemned to death.
Courage, live your life. I gave mine to death long ago so that I might serve the dead.
They're both mad, I tell you. One's just shown it, the other's been that way since she was born.
True, my king. The sense we're born with cannot last forever. Commit cruelty on a person long enough, and the mind begins to go.
Yours did, when you chose to commit the crime with her.
How can I live alone, without her?
Don't even mention her. She no longer exists.
What? You'd kill your own son's bride.
Absolutely. There are other fields for him to plow.
Perhaps, but never as true, as close to bond as theirs.
A worthless woman for my son? It repels me.
Dearest Haemon, your father wrongs you so.
Enough. You and your talk of marriage.
Crayon, you're really going to rob your son of Antigone?
Death will do it for me. Break the marriage apart.
So it's settled then. Antigone must die.
Settled? Yes. We both know that. Take them away. Quickly. From now on, they'll act like women. Tie them up. No more running loose. Even the bravest will cut and run once they see death coming for their lives.
Blessed. They are the truly blessed who all their lives have never tasted devastation. For others, once the gods have rocked a house to its foundation, the ruin will never cease, cresting on and on from one generation throughout the race, like a great mounting tide, driven on by the savage northern gales, surging over the dead black depths, roiling up from the bottom dark heaps of sand, and the headlands, taking the storm's onslaught full force, roar, and the low moaning echoes on and on.
And now, as in ancient times, I see the sorrows of the house, the living heirs of the old ancestral kings, piling on the sorrows of the dead. One generation cannot free the next. Some god will send them crashing down. The race finds no release.
And now the light, the hope, springing up from the late last root of the house of Oedipus. That hope's cut down and turned by the long bloody knife swung by the gods of death, by a senseless word, by fury at the heart.
He was a wise old man who coined the famous saying, "Sooner or later, foul is fair, fair is foul, to the man the gods will ruin." He goes his way for a moment only, free of blinding ruin. Look, here's Haemon now, the last of all your sons. Does he come in tears for his bride, his doomed bride Antigone, bitter being cheated of their marriage?
We'll know soon, better than the seers can tell us. Son, you've heard the final verdict on your bride. Now, are you coming, raving against your father, or do you love me, no matter what I do?
Father, I'm your son. You and your wisdom set my variance for me. I obey you. No marriage could ever mean more to me than you, whatever good direction you go.
Fine, Haman. That's what I feel within your heart. Subordinate to your father's will in every way. That's what a man prays for, to raise good children, dutiful and attentive, so he could pay back his enemy with interest and match the respect his father showed his friend. But for the man who rears a brood of useless children, what has this man brought into the world? Nothing but trouble for himself and mockery from his enemies, laughing at him in his face. Oh, Haman, Never lose your sense of judgment over a woman. The warmth, the rush of pleasure, it all goes cold in your arms, I warn you. A worthless woman in your house, a misery in your bed. What wounds cut deeper than a loved one turned against you? Spit her out like a mortal enemy. Let the girl go. Let her find a husband down among the dead. Imagine! I caught her in naked rebellion, the traitor, the only one in the whole city. Now, I'm not about to prove myself a liar. Not to the people. No. I'm going to kill her. So let her cry out for mercy. Sing her hymns to Zeus, who guards all bonds of kindred blood. Why, if I raised all my kin as rebels, think of what I'd suffer from the world at large. Show me a man who rules his household well, I'll show you someone fit to rule his state. That good man, my son. I have every confidence that he, and he alone, can make commands and take them too. Staunch in the storm of spears, he'll stand his ground. A loyal, unflinching, comrade at your side. But for the man who steps out of line, violates the laws, or presumes to hand orders to his superiors, he'll win no praise from me. But the man who the city places in command, his orders must be obeyed, great and small, right and wrong. Anarchy! Show me a greater crime on earth. She destroys cities, roots men from homes, and breaks the ranks of spearmen into headlong rout. But for the men who lasted out, the great mass of them, they owe their lives to discipline. Therefore, you must defend the men who live by the law and never let a woman triumph over us. Better to fall, if fall we must, at the hands of a man. Never be arrayed inferior to a woman, never.
To us, unless old age has robbed us of our wits, you seem to say what you have to say with sense.
Father, only the gods endow man with wisdom, the finest of all their gifts, a treasure. Far be it from me. I have the skill, and certainly no desire, to tell you when, if ever, you make a slip in speech, though someone else might have a good suggestion. Of course, it's not for you, the normal run of things, to watch whatever men say or do, or find or criticize. The man in the street, you know, dreads your glance. You never say anything displeasing to your face. But it's for me to catch the murmurs in the dark. The way the city mourns for this young girl, no woman, they say, ever deserved death less, and such a brutal death for such a glorious action. She with her own dear brother lying in his blood. She couldn't bear to leave him dead, unburied, food for the wild dogs and wheeling vultures. Death? She deserves a glowing crown of gold. So they say, and the rumor spreads in secret. Dark. I rejoice in your success, Father. Nothing more precious to me in the world. What medal of honor is brighter to a child than a father's glowing glory, or a child to his proud father? Now don't, please, be quite so single-minded, self-involved, or believe the world is wrong and you are right. Whoever believes that he alone possesses the gift of intelligence, the gift of eloquence, he and no one else, and character too. Such men, I tell you, spread them open, you will find them empty. No, it's no disgrace for a man, even a wise man, to learn many things and not to be too rigid. You've seen many trees by raging winter torrent. How many bend with the flood and salvage every twig, but not the stubborn. They're ripped out, roots and all, bend or break. The same when a man is sailing. Haul your sheets too tight, never give an inch, you'll capsize, and go the rest of the voyage, keel up, and the rowing bench is under. We'll give way. Relax your anger, change. I'm young, I know, but let me offer this. It'll be best, by far, and if a man were born infallible, right by nature. If not, and things don't often go that way, it's best to learn from those with good advice.
You do well, my lord, if he's speaking to the point, to learn from him. And you, my boy, from him. You both are speaking sense.
So, men our age, where do we lecture? School by a boy his age?
Only when it's right. But if I seem young, look less to my years and more to what I do.
Do? Is admiring rebels an achievement?
I'd never suggest you admire treason.
Isn't that just a sickness? That's a tactic.
The whole sea of thieves denies it. To a man.
And then Steve's about to tell me how to rule?
Now you see, who's talking like a child?
Am I to rule this land for others or myself?
It's no city at all. We're by one man alone.
What? This city's is the king's. That's the law.
What a splendid king you make of the desert island. You and you alone.
This boy, I do believe, is fighting on her side. The woman's.
If you are a woman, yes. My concern is all for you.
Why, you degenerate? Bandy accusations, threatening me with justice, your own father.
I see my father defending justice. Wrong.
Wrong? To protect my royal rights?
Protect your rights. When you trample down the honors of the gods?
You soul corruption, run through, woman's accomplice.
That may be, but you will never find me accomplice to a criminal.
That's what she is, and every word you say is a blatant appeal for her.
And you and me and the gods beneath the earth.
You'll never marry her, not while she's alive, and she will die.
But her death will kill another.
What? Brazen threats? You go too far.
What threats? Combating your empty, mindless judgments with a word?
You'll suffer for your sermons, you and your empty wisdom.
If you were my father, I'd say you were insane.
Don't flatter me with father, you woman's slave.
You really expect to fling abuse at me and not receive the same?
Is that so? Now, by heaven, I promise, you'll pay, taunting, insulting me. Bring her here, that hateful. She'll die here, beside her groom, in front of his eyes.
No, she will never die beside me. Don't delude yourself. And you will never see me. Never set eyes on my face again. Rage your heart out. Rage with friends who can stand the sight of you.
Gone, my king, in a burst of anger, a temper young as his. Hurt him once, he may do something violent.
Let him dream up something desperate, past all human limit. Good riddance. Rest assured, he'll never save those two young girls' lives.
Both of them? You really intend to kill them both?
No, not the one with her hands are clean. You're quite right.
But Antigone, what sort of death do you have in mind for her?
I'll take her down some wild, desolate path, never trod on my men, and I'll set her out short rations, just the measure Haida demands. There, I'll let her pray to the one God she worships. Death? Who knows? May just reprieve her from death. Or she'll learn. Better late than never. What a wasted breath it is to worship death.
Love, never conquered in battle. Love, the plunderer laying waste the rich. Love, standing the night watch, guarding your girl's soft sheep. You range the seas, the shepherd's seedings off in the wilds. Not even the deathless gods can flee your onset. Nothing human born for a day. Whoever feels your grip is driven mad.
Love, you wrench the minds of the righteous in outrage. You swerve them to their ruin. You have ignited this kindred strife, father and son at war.
And love alone the victor, warm glance of the bride triumphant, burning with desire. Throne and power, side by side with the mighty laws. Irresistible Aphrodite, love, never conquered, you mock us for your sport.
But now, even I would rebel against the king. I would break all bounds. I fill with tears, I cannot hold them back. Not anymore. I see Antigone make her way to the bridal vault, where all are laid to rest.
Look at me, men of my fatherland, setting out on the last road, looking out on the last light of day, the last I will ever see. The god of death who puts us all to bed takes me down to the banks of Acheron alive. Denied my part in the wedding song. No wedding song in the dust crowns my marriage now. I go to wed the lord of the dark waters.
Not crowned with glory or with a dirge, you leave for the deep pit of the dead. No withering illness laid you low, no strokes of the sword. A law to yourself alone, no mortal like you ever. You go down to the halls of death, alive and breathing.
Oh, you mock me. Why, in the name of all my father's gods? Why can't you wait till I'm gone? Must you abuse me to my face? Oh, my city, all your fine rich sons, and you springs of the dear sea, holy grove of thieves where the chariots gather. You, at least, you'll bear me witness. Look, unmourned by friends and forced by such crude laws, I go to my rock-bound prison, strange new tomb. I am a stranger. Oh, dear Zeus, I have no home on earth and none below. Not with the living, not with the breathless dead.
You went too far, the last limits of daring, smashing against the high throne of justice. Your life is in ruins, child. I wonder, do you pay for your father's terrible ordeal?
There, at last you touched it. The worst pain, the worst anguish, raking up grief for father 3 times over, for all the doom that struck us down the brilliant house of Laius. Oh, mother, your marriage bed, the coiling horrors, the coupling there, You with your own son, my father, doom-struck mother. Such were my parents, and I, their wretched child. I go to them now, cursed, unwed, to share their home. Oh, dear brother, doomed in your marriage murders mine. Your dying drags me down to death alive.
Reverence asks and reverence in return, but attacks on power never go unchecked. Not by the man who holds the reins of power. Your own passion, your blind will, has destroyed you.
No one to weep for me. My friends, no wedding song. They lead me off in all my pain. The road lies open, waiting. Never again, the law forbids me to see the sacred eye of day. I am agony. No tears for the destiny that's mine. No loved one mourns my death.
Can't you tell? If any man could wail his dirge before he dies, he'd never finish. Take her away. You're wasting time. Wall her up in her tomb. You're out of orders. Abandon her there and let her choose. Death or a buried life with a good roof for shelter. As for me, my hands are clean. This girl, dead or alive, will be stripped of her rights, her stranger's rights, in this life above.
O tomb, my bridal bed, my house, my prison, cut in hollow rock, my everlasting watch. I'll soon be there, soon embrace my own. The great, growing family of our dead, Persephone has received among her ghosts. I, the last of them all, the most reviled by far, go down before my destined times run out. But still, I go cherishing one good hope, that my arrival might be dear to father, dear to you, my mother, dear to you, my loving brother Eteocles. When you died, I dressed you all. I washed you. I poured the sacred cups over your tombs. But Polynices, because I laid your body out as well, this is my reward. Nevertheless, I honored you. The decent will admit it, well and wisely too. Never, I tell you, if I had been the mother of children, or if my husband had died exposed and rotting, I'd never have taken this ordeal upon myself. Never defied our people's will. With what law, you ask, do I satisfy what I say? A husband, dead. There might have been another. A child, by another too, if I had lost the first. But with both father and mother lost in the halls of death, no brother could ever spring to light again. For this law I held you first in honor. For this Creon, the king, judges me a criminal, guilty of dreadful outrage, oh dear brother. He leads me off, a captive in his hands, with no part in the bridal bed, the bridal song, denied all joys of marriage, raising children, deserted by loved ones, and struck by fate. I descend alive to the caverns of the dead. What law of the mighty gods have I transgressed? Why look to the heavens any more, tormented as I am? Whom to call? What comrades now? Just think, my reverence only brands me for irreverence. Very well. If this is the pleasure of the gods, once I suffer, I will know I was wrong. But if these men are wrong, let them suffer nothing worse than they mete out for me, these masters of injustice.
Still the same rough winds, the wild passion coursing through the girl.
Take her away. You're wasting time. You'll pay for it too.
Oh God, the voice of death. It's come. It's here.
True. Not a word of hope. Your doom is sealed.
Land of Thebes, city of all my fathers. Oh, you gods, the first gods of the race. They drag me away now. No more delay. Look on me, you noble sons of Thebes, last of a great line of kings. I alone see what I suffer now, at the hands of what breed of man? All for reverence, my reverence for the gods.
My lord, Tiresias desires an audience.
Let him enter.
Lords of Thebes, I and the boy have come together hand in hand, to see with the eyes of one, and so the blind must go with the guide to lead the way.
What is it, old Tiresias? What news now?
I will teach you, and you obey the seer.
I will. I've never wavered from your advice before.
And so you kept the sea straight on course.
I owe you a great deal. I swear to that.
Then now, reflect, my son. You are poised once again on the razor edge of fate.
What is it? I shudder to hear.
You will learn when you listen to the warnings of my craft. As I sat there in the ancient seat of augury in the sanctuary, where every bird I know will hover at my hands, suddenly I heard a strange voice in the winged beats, unintelligible, barbaric, a mad scream, talons flashing, ripping. They were killing each other. That much I knew. The murder spirit braving those wings made that much clear. I was afraid. I turned quickly, tested the bird sacrifice, I ignited the altar at all points, but no fire. The god in that fire never blazed, not from those offerings. Over the embers lay a heavy ooze from the long thigh bones. Smoking, sputtering out, blood puffed and burst, spraying all into the air, and the fat that was wrapping the bones slithered off, leaving them glistening white. No fire. The rites failed, the knife blazed his future with this sign. So I learned from the boy here, he is my guide, as I am a guide to others. And it is you, your high resolve, that sets this plague on thieves. The public altars and the sacred parts are fouled, one and all, by the birds and dogs carried, torn from the corpse, doom-struck son of Oedipus. And so the gods are deaf to hear our prayers. They spurn the offerings in our hands, the flame of holy flesh. No bird cries out known clear and sure. They are gorged with the murdered victims' fat and blood. Take these things to heart, my son. I warn you. All men make mistakes. It's only human. But once the wrong is done, a man can turn his back on folly, misfortune too. And if you try to make amends, however low he's fallen, in such as bold naked ways. Stubbornness ranges for stupidity. Pride is a crime. No, yield to the dead. Never stop the fight or raise down. Where's the glory? Killing the dead twice over? I mean you well. I give you sound advice. It's best learned from a good advisor and speak for your own good. It's pure gain.
Oh man, all of you. So, you shoot arrows at me like archers at your target. I even have him loose to me, this fortune teller. His ilk has tried to sell me short and ship me off for years. Well now, drive your bargains, traffic, as much as you like, in the gold of India or the gold and silver of Sardis. You'll never bury that body in the grave. Not even the Zeus eagles come down and rip the corpse and wing the rotten pickings up to the throne of God. Never, not even in fear of such defilement, will I allow for his burial, that traitor. Well, I know, we cannot defile the gods. No mortal has that power. No, Reverend old Tiresias, all men fall, but the wisest fall obscene when they glorify obscene vice as rhetoric, all for their own gain.
Is there anyone alive who knows, who actually believes?
What now? What earth-shattering truth are you about to utter?
Just a sense of judgment, wisdom is the greatest gift we have.
Just as much, I'd say, as a twisted mind is the worst affliction known.
You're the one who's sick, Crown, sick to death.
I am in no mood to trade insult with a seer.
You already have, calling my prophecies a lie.
Why not? You and the whole breed of seers are mad for money.
And the whole race of times lust for a filthy gain.
This slander of yours, are you aware that you are speaking to the king?
Well aware. Who helped you save the city?
You have your skills, old seer, but how you lust for injustice.
You will drive me to utter the dreadful secret of my heart.
Speak it out! Just don't speak for profit.
Profit? No, not for a bit of profit, not for you.
Then know full well that you will never buy off my resolve.
Then, learn this too. Learn this by heart. The chariot of the sun will not race through so many more circuits before you have surrendered one of your own loins, your own flesh and blood, a corpse to corpse, even in turn. Since you have thrust to the world below, a child for the world above, ruthlessly lodged a living soul within the grave. Then you've robbed the gods below the earth, keeping a dead body out here in the bright air, unburied, unsung, unhallowed by the rites. You have no business with the dead, nor do the gods above. This is violence you have forced upon the heavens. And so, the avengers, the dark destroyers, late but true to the mark, now lying wait for you, to strike you down with the pains you perfected, the fury sent down by the gods and the god of death. There, now, reflect on that. Tell me I've been bribed. The day comes soon, no long test of time, when the morning cries for men and women break throughout your halls. Great hatred rises against you. Cities in tumult, all whose mutilated sons, the dogs, are graced with fire, or the wild beast, or a wheeling goat that wings, the ungodly cinch of carried. back to each city, each warrior's heart and home. These arrows for your heart. Since you have raped me, I lose them like an archer in my anger. Arrows deadly true. You'll never escape their burning, searing force. Come, boy, take me home so he can vent his rage on younger men, and keep a gentler tongue in his head, and a better sense than what he carries now.
The old man's gone, my king. Terrible cross. Well, I know. Ever since the hair on this old head went gray, he's never liked news.
I know myself. I'm shaken, torn. It's a dreadful thing to feel. But resist now, laying my pride bare to the blows of ruin? That's dreadful too.
But good advice, Creon. Take it now. You must.
What's your advice? Tell me. I'll obey.
Go. Free the girl from the rocky vault and raise a mount for the body you expose.
What? That's your advice? You think that I should give in?
Yes, my king. Quickly. Disaster sent by the gods cajole her follies in the flesh.
Oh, it's hard, giving up the heart's desire. But I will do it. No more fighting a losing battle with necessity.
Do it now. Go. Don't leave it to others.
Now, I'm on my way. Come, each you. Take up axes. Make for high ground. Over there. I, in my better sense of judgment, have come round to this. I shackled her. I shall set it free. I'm afraid it's better to keep the established laws to the very day we die.
Creon has been gone a long while. Why is he not yet returned with Antigone?
The messenger is coming.
Neighbors, friends of the house of Cadmus and of the kings, there's not a thing in this mortal life of ours I praise or blame as being settled once for all. Fortune lifts and fortune falls, the lucky and unlucky every day. No prophet on earth can tell a man his fate. Take Creon. There's a man to rouse your envy once as I see it. He saved the realm from enemies, taking power, he alone, the lord of the fatherland. He set us true on course. He flourished like a tree, with the noble line of sons he bred and reared himself. And now it's lost, all gone. Believe me, when a man has squandered his true joys, he's as good as dead, I tell you, a living corpse. Pile bridges in your house, as much as you like. Live like a king with a huge show of pomp. But if real delight is missing from the lot, I wouldn't give you a wisp of smoke for it, not compared with joy.
What now? What new grief do you bring the house of the kings?
Dead, and the living are guilty of the
Who's dead? Who is living? Tell us.
Hamlin's gone. His blood is spilled by the very
His
hand.
father's or his own?
His own. Raging mad with his father for the death.
Oh, great seer, you saw it all. You brought your words to birth.
Those are the facts. Do with them as you will.
Look, Eurydice, poor woman, Creon's wife, so close at hand by chance, perhaps, unless she's heard the news about her son.
My countrymen, all of you, I caught the sounds of your voices as I was leaving to do my part, to appeal to Queen Athena with my prayers. I was loosening the bolts, opening the doors, when a voice filled with sorrow, family sorrow, struck my ears. I fell back, terrified, into the woman's arms. Everything went black. Tell me the news again, whatever it is. Sorrow and I are hardly strangers. I can bear worse.
Dear lady, I'll speak as an eyewitness. I was there, and I won't pass over one word of the truth. Why try to seal you with a story, only to prove a liar in a moment? Truth is always best. So, I escorted your lord. I guided him down to the edge of the plain where the body lay, Polynices, torn by the dogs and still unborn, and saying a prayer to Hecate of the crossroads, and Pluto too, to hold their anger into kind. We washed the dead in a bath of holy water, and plucking fresh branches, gathering what was left of him, we burned them all together and raised a high mound of native earth. And then we turned and made our way for that rocky vault of hers, the hollow, empty bed of the bride of death. And far off, one of us heard a voice, a long wail rising, echoing out of that unhallowed wedding chamber. He ran to alert the master. Creon pressed on, closer. The strange, inscrutable cry came sharper, throbbing around him now. He let loose a cry of his own, enough to wrench the heart. Go see if it's Hamon's voice I think I hear. The king was shattered. We took his orders. We went and searched. And there, in the deepest, darkest recess of the tomb, we found her, hanged by the neck in a fine linen noose, strangled in her veils. And the boy, his arms flung around her waist, clinging to her, wailing for his black bride, dead and down below, for his father's crimes, for the bed of his marriage, blight of my misfortune. When Creon saw him, he ran in, shouting, crying out to him.
Come on, my boy, I beg you!
But The boy gave him a wild, burning glance. He spat in his face, not a word in reply. He drew his sword. His father rushed out, running as Haman lunged and missed. And then, doomed, desperate with himself, suddenly leaning his full weight on the blade, he buried it in his body halfway to the hilt. And, still in his senses, pouring his arms around the girl, he embraced her, and breathing hard, released a quick rush of blood, bright red on her cheek glistening white. And there he lies, body enfolding body. He has won his bride at last, not here, but in the houses of the dead. Crayon shows the world that of all the ills afflicting men, the worst is lack of judgment.
What do you make of that? The lady's gone without a word, good or bad.
I'm alone too, but here's my hope. Faced with her son's death, she finds it unbecoming to mourn in public. Inside, under her roof, she'll set her women to the task and will the sorrows of the house. She's too discreet, she won't do something rash.
I'm not so sure. To me at least, a long heavy silence promises danger just as much as loud empty outcries.
We'll see if she's holding something back, hiding some passion in her heart. I'm going in. You may be right. Who knows? Even too much silence has its dangers.
Look, the king himself coming towards us now, holding the boy's head in his hands. Clear damning proof if it's right to say so. Proof of his own blind wrongs, no one else's. No, his own badness.
Oh, my crimes, so senseless, so insane. My stubborn, deadly. Look at us, killer, killed, father and son, of the same blood. Oh, the agony. My plans, my mad fanatic heart. My son, cut off, so young. I, dead, lost to the world. Not out of his own stupidity, no, my own.
Too late, too late. You see what justice means.
Oh, I've learned through blood and tears. Then, it was then when the God came down and struck me, a great weight, shattered me, driving me down that wild, savage path, ruining, trampling down my joy. The agony, oh, the heartbreaking agony we suffer in our life.
Master, what a word of griefs you have, and you'll have more. The grief that lies to hand you brought yourself and the rest in the house. You'll see it all too soon.
What more? What could be worse than this?
The queen is dead. Mother of this dead boy. Mother to the end. Poor thing, her wounds are fresh.
No, no. Her death, so choked, so hard to cleanse. Why me? Why are you killing me? Herald of pain, more words, more grief. I died once, you're killing me again, and again. What's the report, boy? Some news for me? My wife dead? Oh, dear Zeus, slaughtered, heaped upon slaughter.
See for yourself. Now I bring her body from the palace.
No, no, not another loss to break the heart. What fate still waits for me? I was just holding my son in my arms, when look, a new corpse rises before my eyes. Helpless, wretched mother. Oh, my son!
She stabbed herself at the altar. Then her eyes went dark after she raised a cry for the noble fate of Megarius, the hero killed in the first assault. Then for Haman. Then, with her dying breath, she called down torments on your head. You killed her sons.
Oh, the dread! I shuddered with dread. Why not kill me too? Run me through with a good, sharp sword. The agony. Oh, the anguish. I'm turning with it, going under.
Yes, and the dead, the woman lying there, piles the guilt of all her deaths upon you.
How did she end her life? What bloody stroke?
She drove home to the heart with her own hand. When she learned her son was dead, that agony.
And the guilt is all mine. No man can fix it upon. No escape for me. I killed you. Oh, dear Zeus, I admit it all. Take me away. I beg you. Out of sight. I don't exist. I'm no one. Nothing.
Good advice if there's any good in suffering. Quickest is best when troubles block the way.
Come. Let it come then. Best of fates to me. That brings the last day. Best fate of all. Quickly. Now! So that I don't have to see another sunrise.
Creon, no! That will come when it comes. We must deal with all that lies before us now. The future rests with the ones who tend the future.
That prayer. I pour my heart into that prayer.
No more prayers now. For mortal men, there is no rest from the doom we must endure.
Take me away, I beg you, out of sight, a rash, indiscriminate fool. I murdered you, my son, and you too, my wife, a wailing, wreck of a man. Where am I to go to? Whom to lean to for support? Everything I touch goes wrong. Once again, a crushing fate has come down upon my head.
Wisdom. Wisdom is by far the greatest part of joy.
And reverence towards the gods must be safeguarded.
The mighty words of the proud are paid in full, with mighty blows of fate, and at long last those blows will teach us wisdom.